Wolverine Airsoft invited me to their 2025 tech class. Here's how it went. We started off with the 4.5-hour drive from Raleigh, North Carolina to Kingsport, Tennessee, where we arrived at our hotel room.
This is my bed for the weekend. Isaac drove, so he gets the big bed. So if you ever drive me to events, just know if there's only one bed, you will get the big bed for driving me. And then I will take the couch. It's actually a pretty comfortable couch. It's a pretty nice setup. I got my table right here. Keep my stuff there. I think I actually have the better setup.
That's debatable.
Oh man, can't wait for the class this weekend. It's gonna be awesome. Excited to see what's happening.
Got some rest, woke up bright and early at 8 in the morning.
It is day one of the tech class. We are currently going downstairs. It is 8 in the morning. Early start after a long drive. I'm being a little quiet.
To get down to the convention hall. Headed down to the convention hall where the class will be taking place for the next 2 days. Let me tell you, having the convention hall connected to the hotel was clutch for waking up this early in the morning. Walking into the convention hall, I was immediately hit with the nostalgia of being back in college, but this time I'm taking a course that I actually want to take. We had our own little workstation and I got myself a badge. Ooh, so official. And I guess this is the part where I should tell you exactly what is the tech class. Well, it's a class about teching. The end. No, but seriously, it is actually way more than that. Vendors and techs from all over the world come together to get their certification to work on MTWs. I got to meet a bunch of vendors that I've bought from, fields that I've played at, players that I've played with, and the social aspect was worth it in and of itself. And it truly makes me want to have more of these social gatherings in the airsoft industry as a whole. A little biased, but maybe on the East Coast by me. Okay, that's very biased. But back to the tech class. The tech class was broken up into 2 days covering disassembly, maintenance, troubleshooting of Wolverine products. And we got introduced to some of the new products coming out for Wolverine. The product we looked at first was the Havoc engine found in the Gen 12 shotgun. We went over operation and disassembly, and this is where I truly started to appreciate Wolverine's simplistic design for their engines and for their products as a whole. It is simplistic but efficient. 8 BBs are loaded into the system. When the trigger is pulled, the valve opens up, sending air in that cuts off that 9th BB. Air is let into the chamber directed through these 2 holes, somewhere here on screen, allowing a consistent flow of air, firing all 8 BBs, in fact, at once. Simple, but effective. Another note is how contained the system is. Literally, when you look at this, the entire firing operation is contained into just the upper. So much so that you can literally hold the engine in your hand, you have your contact yoke connected to your trigger board, and fire it out of the upper receiver. I just thought that was cool. We also went over maintenance and troubleshooting the Havoc engine. This first 2 modules we didn't actually have hands on, so I don't really have too much footage to show. So hopefully you can reference the diagrams if I'm able to put them up here. If not, then it's me waving around. We wrapped up this first module on the Havoc engine with a Q&A, and I would like to pass a question on to you all. Are you subscribed to the channel? Just kidding, just kidding. If you're thinking about buying a Gen 12, what is holding you back currently? And if you already have a Gen 12, what changes do you want to see to it? I am legitimately interested in knowing, so go ham in the comments. And maybe Wolverine will see your feedback. Next, we went over the Wolverine Storm Cat 5 regulator. I really appreciated this part because I have literally 3 Cat 5 regulators, use them on all my tanks, and should probably do maintenance on them. Just like with all of Wolverine's products and engines, you want to do maintenance. Make sure those O-rings are not damaged and well lubricated, and you're golden. One thing to note on reassembly of your Cat 5, these rings right here, yeah, they have a proper order. Down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Think of it as the Storm Cat 5's Konami code. Again, looking at the diagram, it is a simple design. Air comes in from your tank into the regulator, and by adjusting that screw, you put tension onto those discs. which closes the gap to the nearest hard surface, thus increasing your pressure. Another term that I learned is a balanced design. This is a balanced design. Bear with me because I'm no regulator expert, but from my understanding, we are adjusting the pressure range based off of this gap here, the surface area in between that gap. A balanced design has less of a gap here to reduce the amount of surface area between the air coming in and the air going out. This reduction of area also allows for a smaller, more compact design and a quicker refresh rate for the regulator because it's more balanced. Unbalanced regulators have a larger gap here, allowing for lower operating pressure, but because of that, as the air coming in decreases, the output increases, i.e. you're running out of air in your tank. Will you truly run into this? Probably not. As an HPA player, all of my friends who use HPA fill their tank almost OCD-like, make sure it's never low, so I hope I explained that right. Leave a comment in the description if I didn't and educate me some more. This is also where we get introduced to the handy dandy leak charts. Leak charts basically show which O-rings a leak could come from. So if you're having a leak, identify where the leak is. This chart will direct you to that O-ring and you know exactly what to replace. These are very handy. And you should definitely take note of this in the video or just go to their knowledge base on their website where they'll have these leak charts. I'm telling you, you will save yourself so much time and money just not arbitrarily replacing things or taking apart stuff unnecessarily. Right to where you need to fix and then fix it. After we talked about the storm regulator, we then took a break for lunch and we had my second favorite dish, pizza. Specifically at the Wolverine Headquarters, which was super cool. We got a nice tour of their production facility and I got to see how parts make it from them to you, which is also really cool. I'm a bit of a nerd on these things. We then took a short drive over to their machining facility and I got to see how that block of metal becomes that nicer block of metal, which is your MTW. They have lathes, they have mills. Want to know the difference between the two? A lathe rotates the material and the drill cuts it, where a mill rotates the blade and cuts into the material. Again, I'm a nerd. I like these things. And they have a cool machine that not only moves the material on the X, Y, and Z axis, but also A and B, i.e. it rotates. Sorry, I'm nerding out here. Really cool to see this stuff. So yeah, I'm adding it in the video. We then came back from lunch to our beautiful new mates laid out. Mates? Oh, I think it auto-corrected MTW to mates. That's kind of funny. We then came back from lunch to our beautiful new MTWs laid out on the table. And as you can see here, mine is number 24. If you steal it, I'll know. And this is where the hands-on portion of the TED class starts. We then looked at the new engine, the Inferno XTS. If you're wondering, it stands for extended stroke. We'll get to that in a little bit. And we started with disassembly. I struggled a little bit. The new contact yoke was a bit tight in this one, but you can work your way out. But after that, we are finally presented with the new Inferno XTS. This is a new HPA engine that makes improvements to the old Inferno Gen 2, but also adds some new features. Specifically, its ability to be used with the Quake Recoil stock. More on that later. Looking at the diagram, you can see the obvious new addition, which is this line out for the air. And I know you're gonna have the question, can it be used without the recoil stock? The answer is yes. They include a little grub screw that when you remove that line, you just use the grub screw to plug up that hole and it's golden. It can be used just like a normal Inferno Gen 2. A part of Wolverine's design philosophy is to improve and innovate, but not take away from the existing product. So you'll see a few things in here where it has new features, but the old features are completely still usable. This will make even more sense when we talk about the other new product. Ooh, secrets. The beauty of the Inferno is its ability for the nozzle to move and set the BB into the hop-up before the air comes in to fire it. This allows everything in the system to be aligned and set properly before the BB even leaves your barrel. This happens super quick, but it does make a big difference. The Inferno XTS extends that operation, just allowing everything to be that much more efficient. Air goes in, pressurizing the chamber and pushing the nozzle forward, seating your BB into the hop-up chamber, whilst also directing air around and out into the recoil stock. Once the nozzle moves past this certain point, there is a gap that then allows air to come into the nozzle, shooting your BB out of the replica. And then after that, the excess air from the recoil stock shooting back is then vented out of the front of the nozzle. Again, this all happens super quick. And the question you might be asking now is, won't this excess air affect the flight of the BB? Answer to that is no. The BB is long gone from the replica by the time the rest of the air is vented out. We then have our next diagram of a leak chart. Again, take notes of this, very useful. And they decided to test us by sabotaging some of the MTWs they gave us, 10 to be exact. This was super funny because out of the 10 that they sabotaged, about half of them still worked. So it was funny seeing them scramble to be like, did we actually sabotage them? And when we finally got to disassembly, yes, seals were cut and missing, but the XTS still fired, which is absolutely insane and just kind of goes to attest the simple but effective design. Even with broken or missing seals, it still operated. Moving on, we did a brief class on troubleshooting, and I'm looking at you now because we have all done this. You ever have a replica not working and decide to fix it only to change out multiple parts, and when you're done it's still not working properly? Matter of fact, maybe something else is now wrong with it. Yeah? Stop doing that. If you could take anything from this troubleshooting portion, it's isolate the area that you think is being affected. Say you're shooting your MTW or any replica per se, and the shots are going to the left. Well, then you can think, okay, it has to do with something in the upper receiver. Could be the barrel, bucking, hop up, or maybe even nozzle alignment. Good, so now we know we are not touching anything in the lower receiver. We can break it apart, put the lower to the side, and now focus on the upper. Personally, I like to start with the cheapest or easiest thing to either get to or look at, so I will definitely check down the barrel of the replica, see if there's any dirt or debris in the barrel that might be deflecting my BBs. And if that's not it, we can still keep the hop up fully assembled with the barrel and bucking, and then just add some hop and check to see the hop up nub. Is it slightly deviated to the left? If so, then we just need to know we need to adjust the bucking or the contact patch on it. Boom, simple, easy, didn't even need to take most of the things apart. But what we're not gonna do is say, okay, it's curving to the left, I'm gonna take the hop up out, I'm gonna take the bucking completely off, I'm gonna go replace the hop up unit, I'm gonna go replace the bucking, I'm gonna put it all back together, and it's still firing to the left, only to find out that maybe there's some dirt in the barrel, and you could have fixed that without replacing any of those parts. Basically, what we're gonna be doing is whenever a problem occurs, we're just gonna be checking certain sections of it, working around before disassembling more to kind of narrow down where the problem is going to be, and not changing multiple things to potentially introduce new problems. More so with the engine itself, there are a bunch of different seals and things like that, so if you're having engine problems, don't just go off and replace every single seal. You might actually damage a seal on reassembly, or you might introduce some debris into a seal on reassembly, and then you're left with a still unfunctioning engine and a lot of time wasted and no correct problem pinpointed. Man, got a little passion on that one. Maybe kind of hungry. Luckily, we can just eat the subscribe button. Damn, that joke was terrible. But no, moving forward, we ended the day and had dinner. We had a nice dinner at this awesome distillery, stayed up late, talked to a lot of the employees and other vendors there, then called it a night to wake up early again at 8 for the next half of the class. Started off day 2 with a introduction to some more new technology from Wolverine Airsoft, and that is the Blinc. The Blinc is a collaboration between Wolverine Airsoft and ACETAC to introduce Bluetooth technology into your MTW. Using the Wolverine app, you have a plethora of different adjustments available to you on the fly. You can change your firing modes, rate of fire. Well, you can have different profiles saved for different setups. A cool thing for field owners and tournament organizers, tournament organizers. There we go. You can tournament lock an MTW. Basically what it does is once it's tournament locked, it'll have this little lock icon on it. And if anyone makes an adjustment after it's been locked, it will then show the unlocked icon. So you easily know that a MTW has been adjusted after it should not have been. And we now get into the cool parts of if it's paired with an ACETAC tracer unit or chronograph, you actually should get the tracer unit, because with an ACETAC Bluetooth tracer unit, you don't even need a chronograph because it will chrono the gun for you every time it's shot. You can see the output numbers right there. And that introduces another cool feature for tournament organization. Why is this word so hard? Tournament organizers or even fields, where you can do a random sampling, where basically as you're shooting, it'll sample one random BB and give out the FPS or joules that you set. Do you know what dwell is? Have you ever adjusted your dwell? If the answer to these two things is no, then this feature is exactly for you. They have a setting to auto-tune your dwell for you. All you have to do is turn on the auto-tune setting, fire your MTW about 15 shots. I think it's like 1 shot a second. It'll go through a bunch of different dwell adjustments and it'll pick the best one for your setup. And if you already know about dwell and you use the setting, you can then just select which one you think is more optimal for your setup. Funny enough, during this section, Isaac was like, dude, I've never adjusted my dwell, and then proceeded to go onto the Wolverine website and look to purchase a Blinc FCU, which I thought was hilarious. Also, I know you're hearing all this Bluetooth talk and you're probably thinking, well, what if I don't have Bluetooth connectivity? Do I just lose function of my FCU? And the answer again is no. Remember earlier when I said that they want to add features and not take them away? Well, with the Blinc, everything you can do on the Spartan board, all the manual live fire tuning and adjustments you can do on the Blinc. All this Bluetooth stuff is just an addition to make things a little easier, but you still have the manual adjustments too. You just lose out on some of the Bluetooth specific features like pairing with your tracer unit or saving different profiles that you create. Currently, there isn't any integration to share profiles. So say I make this crazy setup of like, it has 2 round bursts and then 4 round bursts and things like that, and my dwell set to this and that and all of that. Say you have this perfect profile in your mind and your friend's like, I want to use that profile. Well, we did find a workaround to that, and theoretically you can connect their MTW to your app. Once it's connected, you can save the profile because the profiles are saved client side, disconnect, connect your MTW back, and then load that profile. That should be able to work. I haven't tested it yet, but I do have 2 MTWs where I can try that. And lastly, the installation is exactly the same as the Spartan board. You just remove the body pin, pull the board straight out, and you know, there you go. Or in this case, if you're installing it, remove the body pin, slide the board straight in, make sure it's straight so you don't break off any of the little prongs for your empty mag detection or bolt release. Boom, put the pin back in, golden. We took a brief lunch where I had pizza again. I love pizza. And we finished up the tech portion by talking about the Quake Recoil stock. We went over installation and disassembly. The disassembly portion you shouldn't need to do too often. Again, very simple design, and it shouldn't need to be disassembled too often. But one thing to note, these screws here, they were the bane of my existence. They are Loctited on for, you know, security purposes. You don't want, it's gonna have a lot of recoil, so you don't want anything shaking itself loose. But mine took a little bit more effort to get undone, so just take that into note. But looking at the diagram, you can see another simple design. I bet you're getting tired of hearing that, aren't you? I'm gonna say it. I'm still gonna say it. The air is directed out of the XTS into the Quake. A piston is then actuated, which pushes the stock back, giving you, I should not have done that motion on camera, giving you your recoil effect. I already did a video on the Quake Recoil stock, but just restating what I've said before, I absolutely love this product and it's on all of my MTWs. Can't play without it, honestly, at this point. Some other things to note are these flow reducers. These should have been in the XTS section, but it has to do with the Quake recoil stock, so I'm at it here. Every XTS recoil stock combo will come with these flow reducers, these red, blue, and green flow reducers. Green's in there out of the box so far, and you also have the red one and the blue one. What these flow reducers do is lower the output volume of the XTS and increases the pressure going into the recoil stock. So say you want to shoot around 1 joule, but you want your XTS to kick like a racehorse, well, you add your blue flow reducer in there, should get it very low FPS going out, but allow you to crank up the regulator a little bit and get a lot more recoil. And say you want to run at a higher joule output, say you're doing like a DMR setup, you can run the red flow reducers, which will allow you to increase the air going out and the recoil going back. Well, actually, it'll lower the recoil going back, but you'll compensate by turning up your regulator to get the air going out higher. Makes sense. It's an inverse relationship. We then finished up the day with a discussion on the future of Wolverine, and for that, you're just gonna have to wait and see. I left the tech class with that post-event depression, just wanting it to continue and go on forever, but also wondering, did I set up my MTW correctly? Did everything work? So with that raining through my head, the only thing I could possibly do was take the 4.5 hour drive back, say bye to Isaac, then immediately pack my car, get into it, drive to my parents' house, and test it for myself. And we have this. Let me pause the story here. What if I told you this was all planned from the start? While I took a shower, I had Isaac intentionally sabotage my MTW. Why, you may ask? Because they say the best way to learn is to teach others. So I'm going to use this opportunity to show you all the process to tech and troubleshoot your MTW and see if I really learned anything from the tech class.
When looking at the video, we definitely know that we have a leak going on. So we can isolate that to this upper part here and allow us to go ahead and take this apart. Pop our pins, boop, press down on the frac. Let that disconnect from there. We can put our lower to the side, and now we can work on our upper. Flipping this around, we can go ahead and remove our contact yoke. And there we go. As I said in the class, the Blinc contact yokes are a little stiff right now, but then we can pull out this retaining pin right here, or retaining bracket. Get this over here, look to the back here, and remove our connecting pin. And now our contact yoke is gone. And then slide out our engine and set our upper to the side. Now that we have our engine, we can get our hose again and try and isolate where this leak is coming from. I'll plug this in. Ooh, that's new. It is coming
out the back. So I wonder if I plug up the back here and plug it in. Can I get a full clamp down on that? There we go. Now it's coming out the front, and it's our nozzle. So we know the leak is coming out of number 4. And because we know it's coming out of number 4, we know that it could either be, if we look at the diagram here, number 4 is the nozzle, and the connecting seals are C, E, or F. So we know Isaac did something wrong to seal C, E, or F. So crack this open. Open this up right here. Remove this. Slide out this part, and haha, we have found our culprit. Right there. There is no O-ring on number F. Luckily, Isaac put all my O-rings back in the bag, so if I go into the bag and look around for a second, I can find the O-ring for F. Now, we can put this around here, boom, like that. We can grab some grease over here and add some grease around it, like that. I washed my hands. I don't have an applicator tool just about yet, but if you don't have a lint-free applicator tool, I washed my hands, sanitized them, very thin layer right there. Grab our top part here, drop this back in here, make sure that our, let's move the light. Make sure that our flow reducer is still in there. You can push this in. Grab our nozzle. Not nozzle, our spring. Make sure that the spring is seated in there. And then the top part of the engine right here is just going to sit inside of that spring right there. Two pieces together, thread it backwards because these threads are thin. Click, then drive it home. And now, when we connect it, no more leaks. We're gonna grab our upper receiver right here, get this out of the way. Slot the engine back in here and grab our contact yoke, thread that through. Make sure the cutouts line up on the back here. I like to push this nozzle to the side and plug this bad boy back in. Give me a little bit more slack there to work with. And plug that back in. Remember, with this engine, we want the logo facing straight up. That allows clearance for the extra airline. We can then plug this, get this back into the slot. It is stiffer, so we could press that in there. Ooh. There we go. Press that into its slot. Push the engine forward so that the hop-up lines up, and line up these grooves. Get the retaining bracket back in. Now, we can grab our lower. Thread this through while pressing on the button. Push our pins back through. Oh, this front one's being tricky. There we go. And we have our MTW put back together. Boom, I did it. We are golden. Let's plug this airline back in. Whoop. Not hearing any leaks. And now we can test fire it.
No leaks.
empty mag detection works. We have it on advanced, so I have to hit that, and it works.
And with that, my Wolverine tech class comes to an end. I finally feel accomplished, know that I know what I'm doing, and can finally hang up my certification. A big shout out to Wolverine Airsoft for allowing me to come to their yearly tech class / anniversary. I had an absolute blast while I was there, and I actually learned a lot. Really hope I get the opportunity to attend again, because this is something I was really excited to be a part of. And although I was able to attend this class for free, my thoughts and opinions still remain my own, and everything in this video is truly how I feel about the company and the products they're making. I genuinely enjoy them. Wolverine is a airsoft company that was made by players for players, and they seek to do things that no other company in the industry is doing. They are really creating disruptive technology. So just once again, I want to say a huge shout out to Wolverine Airsoft, and a big shout out to the channel members. I don't thank you enough, and I need to get better at doing that. So once again, thank you. And if you want to be a channel member, hit the join button, link below. And if you can't do that, then hit the subscribe button. It's completely free and it helps the channel a lot. But as always, stay safe, have fun, play airsoft. This is Tacked Up, now a certified tech, signing out.